Carl Friden, April 11, 1891 – April 29, 1945, was the Swedish-born American mechanical engineer and businessman who founded the Friden Calculating Machine Company. Friden, Inc. Background: Carl Moritz Fredrik Friden was born in Alvesta in Kronoberg County, Sweden. A company biography of Carl Friden from the 1960s or before stated that he was born Carl Bengtsson. Swedish custom at the time was to assume a new surname, instead of the patronymic, dating from 1901 by decree. Sweden had regulated the adoption of surnames and largely eliminated the patronymic naming practice. He had chosen Fridén as his surname, the Swedish translation of which, Fred, would be the peace. In 1912, he graduated as a mechanical engineer from the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. Friden became a mechanical engineer representing the Swedish Match Trust. In 1913, Friden travelled to London, England to assemble match machines for his company. In 1914, he travelled to Australia with the same purpose in mind, but was stranded there when World War I broke out. In the interim, he worked on his ideas for designing a more reliable calculator. 2 years later, he headed to San Francisco on an American steamer to get part-way home. But that is where he stayed. He found his place in the Merchant Calculating Machine Co. of Oakland within a year. When the U.S. government made Merchant discontinue its current model because it violated some German patents, Carl Friden filled the void with his own model. Friden became the chief designer of the Merchant Calculating Machine Company. While there, he introduced his new design, which reduced the number of calculator parts by 1/3, thus increasing their reliability. Friden continued to develop the modified pinwheel machines at Merchant during the 1920s. His machines were robust and quickly became popular. Friden Calculating Machine Company. Carl Friden left the Merchant Calculating Machine Company during the Great Depression in 1934 to establish his own calculator company at San Leandro, California. 4 investors came to the firm's aid with funds to add to Carl Friden's limited finances. These investors were Walter S. Johnson and his brother-in-law Charles T. Gruenhagen. 1885 to 1968. Both executives with the American Forest Products Corporation together with their associates, J. B. Lewis of the American Box Company and C. A. Webster of the Stockton Box Company. Both companies were affiliated with American Forest Products Corporation. Carl Friden already had a number of patents to his credit, including an early calculating machine. Friden's company introduced a calculator that included a square root function in 1952, then went on in 1963 to introduce the Model EC130, the fully transistorized electronic calculator. In 1963, the company was purchased by the Singer Corporation. Personal. Friden married Hilda Victoria Svensson in 1914 in Stockholm, Sweden. They had 2 children, Stanley Moritz Victor Friden, 1917, and Barbara Friden. Carl married his second wife Emeta Alator in 1940 and had 2 children, Eric Donald Friden, 1941, and Linda Marlies Friden, 1943. They lived together in Pleasanton, California at their ranch Carmita Acres, where they entertained celebrities including Jack London, Ernest Lawrence, Robert Oppenheimer, as well as various Scandinavian dignitaries. Carl Friden was the first president of the Swedish Club of San Francisco and was instrumental in founding the Department of Scandinavian at the University of California, Berkeley. The Order of Vasa was conferred upon Carl Friden by King Gustav V of Sweden in recognition of his distinguished achievements in April 1945. He has been described as one of the Bay Area's most prominent Swedish Americans and is discussed in Muriel Baros's book Golden Gate Swedes. He was a member of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, a Lutheran, and a Republican. Carl Friden died of cancer in 1945 and was entombed at the Chapel of the Chimes in Oakland, CA. Related Reading. Barossa. Muriel Nelson. 2000. Golden Gate Swedes. The Bay Area and Svedal. Ange of Light Works. Friden Tribute website accessed March 4, 2006.